Hello and welcome to the session. Okay, if you grab everything that you need, so you're going to need your yoga mat, a couple of blocks and a blanket to wrap yourself up in, or even maybe something just to lay on as well for some of the postures. Okay, and then we'll start. So in today's session, we're going to be working a strong and stable base, and that is also leading into a strong and stable core. So get yourselves ready. Okay, so just have a little bit of a wriggle out so you feel a little bit more connected down towards the ground rather than just surface sitting. And then just roll your shoulders back, get your shoulder blades pulling back and down. And closing your eyes, just take a few moments there just to tune in just to how you actually feel. So just recognizing maybe if you've brought something with you to the session. So if you're kind of dragging your day in with you, just recognize how you feel. You may be super excited for the session, again, feeling all kind of light and raring to go. So again, just recognize how you feel, just so we get that starting point. Just respect if you have any injuries or any little aches or pains, then just respecting those. So don't feel as if you've got to really work through them, not in a painful way. Just keep it nice and keep it light. Okay, so bringing the palms together. And just noticing the balance, the right and the left side coming together. And the hands in towards the heart center. Just making that connection and tuning in with the love and compassion of your heart chakra. And remembering to work with love and compassion for yourself through your practice and always. Now set your intention for your practice. Remember, your intention is kind of leading towards your goal. So what is it that you're after? What is it that you're looking for? So making sure that you set that intention and it's all about you. Once you have your intention, just bringing the thumbs up just to the space between the eyes. Making that connection with your Ajna chakra, your intuitive self. And taking the hands up over the crown. So your intention is then out there. And drawing the hands back down again towards the heart center. And then releasing the hands down to the legs. Softly blink the eyes open. Again, just have that little bit of a roll out just with your shoulders. And then start just to tilt forwards and back. Just a little bit of gentle movement, just tilting the pelvis. Not working on the rest of the spine yet, just kind of tilting there, just to be able to get that movement just going in your spine, lower part of your spine. Once you feel that it's moving freely, then you can start just to bring in the rest of the spine, just see how it feels. And once we feel that we have that movement there, then just have a little bit of a wriggle out. Then I'm going to rock over the legs and you're coming over into Varasana. So I'm just going to change around just so you can see me more. Big toes are together and you can take the knees out just a little bit wider than your hips. Take your hands and slide them forward and spreading out the fingers. Going as far forward as you can and bringing your forehead down. Now we're aiming to keep a good stretch with this, so you'll feel the length moving right from your hips, right along the front, back and sides of the body, right through to the fingertips. Your forehead is down onto the floor. And again, just making that connection just with the Ajna chakra and just tuning in just into your intuitive self. And keep the weight just pushing back towards the heels. Remember with the arms, the tops of the arms, you're rolling these in, so it's hugging round. So we did this last time, so we're on the last video. So we're going to be pulling in, wrapping round, and then again with your deltoid, a little bit with the bicep muscle, just to kind of really secure in that shoulder girdle. And then from here, use your stomach muscles, draw yourself back and sitting back. Now you're going to be sitting in Varasana. So when you sit in Varasana, ideally we just want to have our legs together. We're going to sit back onto the heels just for now. So we're sitting back here nice and tall. Take your hands straight out in front, interlock your fingers, turning your hands over. And then taking the arms up. Take a nice big stretch. Make sure that your rib cage is housed evenly in your skin. Lifting up, tailbone tucking down, and then bringing your arms forward and bringing them down. Now, so we're sat back on the heels for now. If you can, you're going to just separate the legs a little bit, and then, or the feet, sorry, separate the lower part of the leg just to sit back. If that feels a little bit much, then you're going to sit yourself back just onto a block. Okay, or two or three. So hands are just going to go onto the legs. Now I'm going to brace my arms to stretch them forward, and we're going to work into Kapalbhati breathing. Now with this, if you're not going to be doing it if your blood pressure is really high, or if there's pregnancy or hernia, then give it a miss. Just kind of work on your normal breathing. Otherwise, it's that big breath in and then a sharp, short, sharp breath out. We're not kind of losing the breath. The breath keeps coming in each time that we breathe. Once we breathe out, your breath will come back in. Okay, so we'll take a nice big deep breath first. And then breathing out. Come to a normal breath. And then start the Kapalbhati breathing. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment. Now you can see when I'm breathing, the belly is moving back. So each time you exhale, okay, and then come to normal breathing. So Kapalbhati breathing starts to really generate a lot of heat inside the body, really building up the fire. Okay, so take a couple of breaths there. And then again, coming forward. So just remove the block, come forward and stretching out again into Bakasana. So we have our big toes together, knees out wide, arms stretching forward. So nice long stretch out. And then again, from there, start to draw back, sat back to the heels. Now we can just remove, if you've got any blankets and things just under you, unless you want them there, that is. Okay, and again, arms stretch forward. So we're going to come up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So onto hands and knees, tuck the toes, and then start to lift back. Now from here, you might just want to, with it being the first one, you might want to just pedal out a little bit with your feet. Feel the backs of the knees opening, drawing back again through your arms, chest heading back towards the legs. Once all the wriggling is done, right up onto the toes, hips up high, and then sink those heels back. So we're taking a few breaths here. Really get the head just to release. You might want to just give the head a little bit of a nod, yes, a little bit of shake, no. Rub the lips. So no tension held in the face. Okay, so from here, we're going to come forward into your plank, holding there. Now, this is our first plank, so we're just going to hold here, and we're going to start to kind of really reaffirm everything. So pushing back with the heels, legs nice and strong, so pushing back right into the backs of the knees. Squeeze back through your belly. You can squeeze your bum just a little bit, pushing away from the wrists and then spreading out across the shoulders. Now I'm going to bring our knees down. I'm going to keep the feet as they are and just start to bring your hips forward. When you're bringing your hips forward and the chest is lifting and we're looking up. So we're just getting that little bit of a stretch out just through your belly. Again, feel the shoulders nice and secure. And then we can take the head down, pull back through your belly, back to the knees, lifting back up. So back up into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Nice long stretch back through there. And then again, come forward into your plank. Now from here, again, you're squeezing in on the belly. Keep the bum squeezing in. Bring your hips down. We're going to stay on the toes and we're lifting up in the chest. So we've got Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, but still on the toes. And then pulling back. So all the way back, nice long stretch. Squeeze back through your belly. And then coming forward. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana again. This time, see if we can roll over the toes. Pressing down, legs nice and firm. Really shoot them back. So we should have the knees off the floor. And then rolling back. Lifting all the way back up. And then down to the knees. Take the bottom back to the heels. Just rest, bring your hands back just for a moment. Okay, use the belly just to draw you back up again. Okay, so now that we're here, we're sat back here. We're just going to take a belt now. I think I forgot to tell you to grab a belt. Just making sure that the picture's not gone fuzzy. No, we're okay. We're okay. We're okay. Right. So you've got your belt. Now you're just going to have a little bit of a loop in your belt. We're going to be working Garudasana arms. So with this is where we take our crossover. Now in this one, I'm going to come near so you can see exactly what I'm doing with this. So we're going to be taking the belt in our left hand. Have your right arm out and then bend your arms and take your right arm underneath, but then grab hold of the belt. So once you've got a hold, you're going to pull as if you're trying to pull the belt apart. So we've got a hold there, really pulling it apart. So you'll feel this in your shoulders. Get your shoulder blades again just to pull down. So hold just a couple of breaths. And then release. Okay, same for the other side. So we're going to have belt in the right hand, left arm out so we can bend. Now take the left arm underneath, grab hold, and then pulling apart. Really feel that pulling and then release. Okay, so we're going to do the same again, just without the belt this time. So a belt can just be at one side. I'll just go here so you can see me clearer. So arms straight out in front, bending your arms, take the right underneath and bring it round. So this time see if we can catch the hand, and we should be looking at the line along the thumbs. I'm going to take a little kind of ease over just to stretch out across the top of the back. And then pulling back up and then release. Okay, same again for the other side. So arms stretch straight out in front, bend the elbows, left under the right, grab hold with your hands. If you can't, you're looking along the line of your thumbs. And again, take a little easing over. And then back up and release. Okay. So at the moment, you will still be in Varasana. So you're still in this position. So again, now stretch forward. Come up. Again, lifting up. So Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Come forward again into your plank. Nice and strong. with your plank, squeeze back through your belly, squeeze a little bit into your bum, push back through the legs, and then all the way back up. Now back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. From here, you're going to look forward, bend your knees, stay looking forward as much as you can, and then jump or step forward. From here, head down, and hands to the hips. Inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, and coming up. Okay, and then turning. So we're just going to start just to step the legs out, and we're going to go into Trikonasana just to begin with. So, a leg length apart. Take your arms out to the sides. I'm going to turn in with your left foot, turn out with your right leg. Keep a good lift going through the body. And then exhale as we stretch over to the side, bringing the hand down. Now, on this first one, it's just to get kind of our positioning right where we are. So then I want you to just spring back up again. Okay, this time really focus on all the outer edges of the feet are pushing out to the side. Still work as if the inner thighs are pulling in, sucking up. This will really start to tune into your core. Squeeze in a little bit into the belly. And then again, exhale as we move over to the side and then coming down. So turning, so looking up towards that top hand. And then coming back up. Okay, turn the feet. Refresh the arms, ready for the other side. So turning in, turning out, keeping that lift. First one, we're just getting our setting right. So we're moving over, bringing the hand down. We're just kind of paving the way of where to go. And then bring it back up. Okay, again, feel as if you're pushing right to the outer edges of the feet. Feel the inner thighs pulling in, lifting up, coming right up. Squeeze into the belly, lifting, get the shoulders back and down, and then exhale, gliding over, bring your hand down, and the other arm is up. Turning, looking up towards that top hand. And then after the next exhalation, pushing into the right foot and coming all the way back up. Turn the feet back in, walk or jump the feet back together. So roll your shoulders, get the arms pulling down. Just close your eyes for a moment and just thinking about your intention. Think about what it is that you're after. What is it that you want? What is it that you're looking for? Keep your attention just on your breathing. Okay, and then opening your eyes. So Pravritta Trikonasana, revolving triangle. You can either use a chair or you can use blocks. So I'm going to use blocks today, and then you'll be able to see a little bit clearer. But if you do want to use a chair, by all means, we're after really kind of a twist. We're after creating space and just getting that twist, just to kind of release any tension in this area. So then we can really work nice and deep into that. So we're going to work into it from the right leg forward, left leg back. So we're already got the hips in the right position. So my block is just on the outside of my right, on my right foot. So I'm going to use my right hand just to draw back a little bit into that right hip. Take my left arm up, inhaling, lifting, reaching up. And again, feel as if the legs are pulling together so we connect with our core. And then exhale as we lengthen forward, as far forward as we can. And then bringing your hands down onto the block. So once we're onto there, now we can start then just to push away from the block. You see how it brings me up a little bit? Pulling back with my right hip. Then I can just take that arm, wrap it behind. Because really we're just working on kind of creating that space through that midsection and also getting a nice twist. And then if you feel okay with it, you can take that arm up. A little bit wobbly this morning. Okay, so I'm reaching up. We can turn, even maybe look up towards that hand. And then bringing it back down. So once it's back down, hands come onto your hips. Inhale, lifting up. Okay. Now you can pick your blocks up. Not quite so easy if you've got the chair option. and then spin it round and place your blocks down. Okay, so again, from here, my left hand is going to now pull back. My right arm is lifting up. I feel as if I'm drawing my legs together and pulling up into that midsection, so it's really tuning into my core. Then I can start just to stretch as far forward as I can, pulling back with that left hand, bring my hand onto the blocks. So once that hand is onto there, then rather than resting down, push up, lift away, create a little bit more space to be able to turn and to turn and to turn. It's a tricky one to do and to talk at the same time. Okay, so we're turning, and then lifting the arm. Now you'll notice my back heel is lifted ever so slightly. It needs to come up, let it lift up, rather than twisting in your hips. Okay. And then bringing that hand back down. Oops, so hands back onto your hips, inhale, lifting up, and then step the legs back in. Okay, so we can just move the blocks over just for a moment. And again, roll your shoulders back. Take a couple of breaths. And then Virabhadrasana 1. We're going to move this into Virabhadrasana 3. So we're going to start off taking your right leg forward, left leg back. I'm going to just step straight into it. So hands are onto the hips. Just press down, level the hips off, and then taking your arms up. From here, we're going to bend the knee. So good deep bend. Keep the lift through the body. So we're in Virabhadrasana 1. Nice and strong in the legs. Nice and stable, squeezing into your belly. We're going to turn on that back foot, bringing the arms forward. Stretch as far forward as you can. Then from here, we can either bunny hop it, or we can just start to lift that leg, squeeze into your belly, squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in. Nice strong line. And then coming back down. Okay, we take a lift, come all the way up. Bring your hands back down onto your hips. And then we can turn for the other side. Okay, I'm going to hit the shelving on this side. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so hands pressing down. Take your arms, lifting them up. Bend your knee, good deep bend. Remember, keep that knee lined up over your ankle bone. So reaching up as much as we can, and then stretching forward. As you stretch forward, you can pivot on that back foot. Then from here, either transfer the weight, lifting up, or we can just bunny hop it, and we come up, reaching up, pushing that back foot. Make sure the hips are level. I've cheated this side, sorry about that. Okay, and then we can bend the front leg, step it back, arms reach up, coming up, bringing the hands down, and then step it in. Okay, so again, roll your shoulders, take a couple of breaths, and then join me at the top end of your mat. Just going to turn off for a moment. Okay, so top end of your mat. Roll your shoulders. And then slowly we're going to start to sit down. I think the picture's gone a little bit fuzzy. I move a little bit too quick for the camera. It doesn't always like pick me up, and it should do. So I think if it's a little bit fuzzy, then I'm really sorry. Okay. Whew. Right, so we're just onto here. So right at the top edge of your mat, we're going to start to bend the legs, bending, 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 and then sit yourself down. Now, once we're to here, we're going to take our 2 blocks. So when you have your 2 blocks, you're going to place them back behind you, and one is just going to kind of take a little seesaw over the other. Let me just see. I'm going to see if I can just change just on. It's very grainy. Wait a minute. No, it's going to have to be with that. So I'm sorry about the graininess. Hang on. Might make it a bit sharper. Oh, that's a bit better. Okay. Right. Okay then, so we've got our 2 blocks behind us. Now from here we're just going to hold on to the backs of the legs. Sit up nice and tall, really lift up in the chest. Pull back a little bit. So we've just got our tips of our toes just resting onto the floor. Keeping that lift. Now we're going to start just to push away through your heel. So you're pushing away and then start to feel that the thigh bone starts to push away as well as you lift. So at the moment, just push away right through the heels and then bring it back down. Okay, on the other side. So push away through the heel, take a lift and then back down. Then going over again to the right side. So this time on your right side down. Then onto the left. So we lift, take it up as high up as you can and back down. Okay, give the legs a little bit of a stretch. They might want a little bit of a shake out. So we have our blocks behind us. So with that, when we pull the legs back, if we want to, we can just kind of lean back a little bit just into the blocks. So if you feel like it's hindering you, take it back slightly. So let's work into that again. So keep your lift in your chest. Just have it so it's there just kind of as, not really so you're relying on it, but just there just to prompt you. So have the toes just onto the floor. Keep the lift. Then pull the toes away from the floor. Lift your right leg. Stretch it up. Point the toes. Feel the thigh bone pushing away. Lift your chest even more. Bring that leg down. Okay, onto the left. Lift, point the toes, push the thigh away. Keep the lift in the chest. And then back down. Okay, again, straighten the legs. So if you're not needing your block there at all, then you can just get rid of it now. So push it back a little bit further. So we don't want to be kind of resting onto it. So again, keep the lift in the chest. So last time this time. So pull the feet up away from the floor. Keep the lift. Now lightly hold on to the legs. So just lightly, just maybe just 1 or 2 fingers on that. Lift up with that right leg. Lift up with the left. See how it makes a difference now because I'm not pulling in. Okay, we've got it there. Squeeze back. Draw back onto your belly. Drawing back, drawing back. Stretch the arms. Holding there, holding. So feel the feet lifting, the thighs pushing away, chest is lifting, pull back on, bring it back down. Whew. Okay, now take your blocks, move them back a little bit further. Now from here we're going to keep the toes pointing and we're going to start to come a little bit lower. Now as we do this, as we go back, we are going to be kind of resting a little bit onto that block, but not really very much. Lift your legs. And then holding here, squeeze back through your belly, squeezing back, squeezing back. You should feel a tremendous shaking going on in the body. Those that are a little bit more hardcore, you might want to take the hands behind your head, but again, not fully resting onto the blocks. Otherwise, stretch the arms straight out in front, not relying too much on those blocks. Keep the legs stretching away, keep the thigh bone pushing down. Woo. And then coming up. Okay, so you should feel such amount of shaking going on with that one. Okay, right, so we're going to be moving our blocks out of the way from behind your back, but we will need them this time just to for another one. Okay, rolling back down. So make sure I've got anything behind me on here. They can just go by your sides for a moment. So we're going to need them just after the next one. Now, after this one, reverse crunchy. So it's really going to tune in. Now, on this, your hands can just be kind of onto the sides, just down onto the floor. Now, when we pull in, kind of think the knees coming up towards the chest. You can flick the feet up a little bit. So from here, right, toes are just onto the floor. Little lift. Little lift. Okay, so you can either keep your hands on the floor or hands behind the back of the head, lifting you slightly, squeezing the belly and a little lift. So think of the knees pulling in. Now, if you want to kind of start on these, after a few, you'll really start to feel it, really starts to tune in more into that solar plexus area, into the Manipura chakra. So when we're working on the core, like basic core ones, you're working your Mula Bandha. So think of pelvic floor and that bit drawing up. When we start to get up a little bit higher, it gets into the Uddiyana Bandha. So this is where we really start to feel that fire building, and it brings a lightness into the body. So hence those jumps forwards and jumps back. Okay, so again, just a few more. Okay, so you should be able to feel those. Whew. Right, okay, so to move on. So you're going to keep your blocks just one block down by your side. So I'm going to keep my left one down by my side. I'm going to straighten out with the legs. My right one is in my hand, going back over my head. Let me just give myself a bit more space. And back over my head. Now you can work maybe even 6 times just on one side. So you can have the hand pressing down into this one if you want to help to lift you up. Otherwise you can use kind of the body to lift up. So we're going to do it opposite arm to leg. So it lifts and touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that side comes down and then we're ready for the other side. So I'm going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now you'll notice on the second side when I did it, I had to press down a little bit more through my elbow as well as my hand. So there's a weakness on my left side, and I really feel that kind of when I'm coming up. So do whatever you really feel that you need to be able to do to help, just to modify, just so you can make it kind of slightly more comfortable for you. We don't want to just beat ourselves up all the time. So, you know, we're still getting, I can really still feel that working into my obliques. But otherwise, if my hand isn't down, I really struggle and my technique isn't quite so good. So, you know, modify it if you need to. Right. So we're going from here now into Vasisthasana, into your side plank. So from here, we're going to just come over because you're going to be rolling over onto your right side first. Now, from your plank position, so get you set up with your wrists underneath your shoulders. So feet are together, and we're in our plank, squeezing back through your belly, squeezing in on your bum, push away through your wrists, stretching out in the legs. And then we roll over to the right side, one foot stacked up on top of the other, wrist underneath the shoulder, then taking the arm up. So lifting up through the hips as much as you can. So holding there, you can take the arm over the head. As a modification, you can always take that top leg if you want, press it down in front, or you can press it back behind. But if you don't make it too much of pulling back, and to keep it on the side, so you're really kind of reinforcing that lower leg. Okay, so from here, bring it back round. So you'll see the back of me on this side. Okay, so squeeze your belly, squeeze your bum, rolling over. So one foot stacked up on top of the other. Take the arm up. Take the arm over the head, lift the hips up a little bit more. Bring the arm up, bring it back down. Okay, from there, pull back. So you're back into your Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Then look forward, bend your legs, squeezing back into the belly, stay looking forward, jumping forward, head down, hands to your hips, inhale, lifting up, coming up, and then bringing it back round. So again, just roll your shoulders back. So take a moment just to allow the fizziness to go. Well, hopefully you're feeling fizzy and full of energy. Okay, so we're really starting to tune into the belly. So with this now, we can then start to work it into Bakasana. So with Bakasana, we're going to work our first one, and you can work onto a block. If you're really familiar with the pose, then you don't really feel like you have to go to the block, then that's fine. It just gives you a little bit of a height and a little bit of a starting point. So a little bit of a leg up. So if you want to, pile loads of cushions and things in front of you, and then you're not going to have the fear of falling. So that might be helpful. Otherwise, you have your feet just onto your heels, just onto the block, keeping that lift. Now squeeze in, tune into your belly, pulling in as much as you can. Let the back spread out a little bit. We're going to start just to loosen off a little bit with the legs, but really feel again as if there's that internal lift. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Knees are out a little bit wider, and we can bring the hands down. Now once the hands are down to the floor, we can then just take a little rock forwards and back if we need to. So, and just to be able to kind of feel where you're comfortable with it. So rocking forward, rocking back. Now there gets to be a certain point. Now we really need to feel, again, that squeezing in the belly. We'll get to a certain point with it when we come forward that we don't just want to carry on rocking forward. That'll make us just topple over. So we keep looking forward, then it's a lift of the leg, lift of the other leg. And we're holding there. And placing your feet back down. Might want them back again just onto the block. Press down through the legs, bring yourself all the way up. Okay. So now you can have another go at that one. If we'll work into it one more time, we'll work just without the block there at all. So feet are out just a little bit wider. Now as an alternative, so you can take yourself back into that one again. As an alternative, if you're not wanting to go into that, you can go into a plank. So this will help just kind of getting you ready for it. So you're in your plank, and then you can bring one leg forward. So bring one leg forward, holding that there, keeping the back leg nice and strong. So you work a couple of breaths, take it back, and then onto the other side. And take it back. Okay, so it gives you a little alternative one to do, and just to help you just with your setup for it. So if you were going into it, and hopefully you'll do it again. Now, if you feel that that's enough, just take a breather for a moment. If you want to have a little bit more, then you can work it into Parsva Bakasana, so into your side crow. Now, this is always a fun one. One side's always a little bit better than the other, so we'll see how we go with it. So I'm going to go sideways on, so I'm looking sideways to you, that is. So I'm going to be looking at the short end of my mat. Again, feel that inner lift. Bend your legs, come right up onto your toes, so we're bent down. Then we're going to turn. Now when we turn, so we need to get a really good twist, and then placing the hands down. So we get like a little shelf with the arm. Now once the arm is on there, we can lift. Woo. And it's only a little short one on that side. It's not quite so good on that side. So if you manage to get up on that, then that's fine. Let's have a go on the other side. So from here, we're keeping that lift, internal lift, squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in, coming down. So still, again, feel as if there is that lift. We turn, so we get a good twist. We create a little shelf. So with the elbow, the arm, hands are placed down. There we go. And then back round. Okay, and coming up. So you'll have one side which will probably feel much easier than the other. So try and work on the side as well, which isn't quite so good. Keep trying to build that one in and give that one maybe a second shot as well. Okay, so we'll have really started to tune in a little bit into here now. So from here, we're going to be working into Shashasana, into our headstands. We have 3 different variations on your headstands. So you're going to be up your normal Shashasana, and we'll have 2 variations of that normal one. And then once you are up, you can go into Konasana, so that's with the legs out wide. And again, still feel as if, even when the legs go out, push to the heels and still feel that inner lift with it. Bakasana legs, so that's with the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. And again, then back to straight one. So your two variations on your Shasana. You have your tripod headstand. So with your tripod, let me show you first of all. So think of a triangle. And the point of that triangle is where you're going to have your head. So along the base, the other points of that triangle are where the hands are. So really important not to get the head just in line. So you can see, hopefully from that angle, that my hands are a lot further back. If you can clap your hands in front of your face, then you're good. Okay, so from here, make sure the shoulders are right up, and we walk in, we walk in, we walk in. From here, we should be able to get the legs just to lift and float up. Okay, so again, back down. So making sure that you have that triangle base on there and you keep your shoulders lifted. If you're going for your traditional Shasana, this is where you're not wanting your arms any wider than your shoulders. So if you have your hands just onto your arms, they're not going to go any wider. Keep them there. So, sorry, you'll have to see my bum for a moment. So hands are down, elbows no wider than my shoulders, and pressing down. So from here, your head is down, make sure your shoulders are lifted. So then we can walk in, walk in. Squeezing in, tuning into your belly. So once we're there, we can unfold, lifting up, still tuning into my belly. Then you're going to work a few breaths here. From here, we turn the feet out. We can then go out. So Upavista Konasana legs. So even though the legs are out, we still feel as if you're trying to draw the legs together. And then Baddha Konasana legs. So we just fold the legs in. So we work on the belly drawing back, knees heading back, shoulders stay lifted. And then stretching up. So really feel the legs pulling together. And then we can draw the legs in. And back down. Okay, once you're down, just leave with the head just down just for a moment. Okay, go back into your Ardha Mukha Svanasana, just to let the head hang. And then bring it back down. And then from here, we're just going to hold on to the back of the head. So if you have been up into your Shasana, just helps just to kind of pull the neck back in. So push the head back into the hands. And then let the hands slide up the head a little bit, just bringing the chin in. And then release, and then again. So push the head back. And then just sliding the hands up the head a little bit, just bringing the chin in. And then once more, so push back. And then let the hands slide. Okay, and bringing the hands down. Okay, so there's your Shasana. So even if you need to, just pause the video for a bit. If you're enjoying it, just to stay up there just for a little bit longer, then that's fine. You can just get the most out of your Shasana as you can. You can have those variations. So if you were doing your tripod one, you could walk your legs in, and rather than taking that little lift to come up, you could have walked in and bring your knees onto your elbows and then lift up. So, and again, you can do the variation on there where you kind of rock back a little bit and come back up into Bakasana, into your crow pose. So there's a couple of variations, and that is all going to help by kind of your strong foundations and by tuning right into your core, squeezing in and just kind of working with your distribution of weight, really. Okay, so roll your shoulders, sit up nice and tall. Take a moment, take a breath. And then we have our Savangasana, your shoulder stands. So in this, you're going to have your belt ready. Now, we're not going to put the belt on to begin with. So it wants to be kind of about shoulder width apart, just with your belt. And we're going to roll the mat up. Now I'm going to make it so there's a little bit of extra padding in it. So you can do this as well if you've got lots of blocks and things, but I'm just going to show you kind of how nice it is just to do it just straight from using your mats. Okay, so that gives it a little bit of height. Now your belt is handy because you're going to place that on afterwards once you're up. So again, just about shoulder width apart. If you know you're quite flexible in your shoulders, then you can maybe go just a little bit narrower with it. So have it so your head is not on the mat, and you're about kind of an inch in or so just above your shoulders. So that belt is there. So lifting yourself up. Think of those reverse crunches which we did. So you're going to come up first of all and go straight over into Halasana. Okay, so from here, we grab hold of our belt and we're placing the belt just above, if we can get it on, just above our elbows. So hands can just reach away. Now we're tuning into the belly. Hands can come onto the back. And then again, this is using your core. Use your core to lift up, lift up, lift up. Nice and tall, reaching up as much as you can. Taking a few breaths. Keep tuning into the core as you bring your legs back down again. Think of hinging at the hips as you bring your legs down. Now reach your hands away. So palms are going to face up, and then again coming up. And then back over. Bring your hands back just to stabilize. So when the hands are down and stretching away, really starting to work into your shoulders and that placement again of your shoulders, but it really emphasizes you working into your core. So you can always have another shot at it. So remember, hands could stabilize, they're the lowest point. Legs are going to stretch up as much as you can. Take it just to where you feel comfortable with it. And then back over. Hands back onto your back, keeping that little lift. And then we can release, if you can manage to get the belt back off. And slowly rolling down. Take a moment once you're down. Okay, so unrolling your mats. And then you have your Matsyasana, your fish pose. So if you're not wanting to kind of lift up or you have difficulty lifting up, you can always use your blocks. You can have them this way round, or it might feel a little bit high, just up onto those. Probably is a little bit high. You can take it this way and just kind of take your head back. And just rest there for a few moments, just again to give that counter pose on the neck. If you're wanting to lift up into it, then from here, elbows are in, dome the chest, and taking the crown of the head to the floor. And if you're strong in your back, strong in your core, arms out, legs up. And back down. Lift and release. So just take a couple of breaths. Allow the body just to settle. Okay, so we have 2 more poses to go. So with this, again, you're going to need your belt. Now here we're going to take the belt and it's going to go around your thighs. Help to hold the legs in. So just kind of with that, if you can, with the legs right together. Otherwise, just kind of a little bit of a gap. Just watch you don't nip yourself with the buckle. Okay, we have our 2 blocks. So the 2 blocks are going to be on end in this one. Now, from here, if you can also have the variation of just having it lower. But if you can manage, then we'll lift up and we're placing the blocks in. So underneath your sacrum, make sure your hair's not in the way. Hands are in kind of towards the block as much as you can. And then placing your feet down. So keep your feet parallel, not letting the toes splay out to the side. So with kind of the crunch up things which we've been doing and the contracting in your belly, this is just going to help just to, again, keep the space in the lower back and just help just to lengthen out again through those stomach muscles. It's not good to just kind of keep contracting. We need to still keep that lengthening as well. So keeping the muscles lean rather than kind of just really all the time restricting and pulling in. So holding here, so you have hopefully my ankles are underneath my knees. So and just hold in there. So you can take a couple of breaths, even close your eyes just to allow the body just to settle into it. So the belt and everything should be holding you nicely in place. Okay, so after your next exhalation, then we can just come up onto the toes, lifting up, turn them round. Placing your bottom down onto them. It should feel really nice now. So once you're onto there, and then you can always tighten up with your belt. So the legs aren't going to splay apart. And then straighten the legs out along the floor. Push your way through the heels. Holding onto the edges of the block. Get your shoulders under, and we're going to take 6 breaths here. Okay, so after your next exhalation, again, just bending the legs. You might want to just press down just so you can bring that top block in a little bit, just to rock the knees in. Loosen the belt. So we can remove the belt. And then lifting up so you can remove the blocks. Bring your bottom all the way back down. And just have the legs just in a crook knee position just to begin with. Let the legs just gently start to rock over from side to side. And when you feel that that's freed off, you can either just roll to the side and just bring yourself up, or you can rock just to bring yourselves up to sitting. Now, for your Shavasana, so just taking maybe, and not skipping it, just even if you take kind of 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes, that's all, but it's well needed. So you can either be out completely straight, or if you take the blocks and just place them just underneath the legs. So whichever you feel, you can either have them this way, or you can have them, I like to have them kind of pushed right up, just on a slight bit of an angle. And then you wrap yourself up. Now, when you're wrapping yourself up, again, we talked about this last time, kind of like a swaddled baby. So in just enough to let the feet just kind of fall out a little bit to the sides. So you can bring yourselves in. Now, hands can just rest either down by your sides or just at your heart center. So just with one hand just on top of the other, just resting there. Alternatively, just have the hands just down by your sides. So if you get yourselves ready, get your blankets on, get cushions, get pillows just around you. But again, don't miss it out. Make sure that you take your Shavasana. After all the hard work and everything that you've done, it's really nice to be able just to give yourself that little bit of a treat, that little bit, 5 minutes or so there for yourself. Just start now, just to bring your awareness back. Notice how you feel. Just awakening your senses. Just being aware of the things around you. And just have a feeling of gratitude. And saying thanks for all those things that are there in your life. Again, just noticing and being aware of the changes from the beginning of the session to how you feel now. And then over the next few breaths, just take gentle stretches, leading into a full body stretch. You might even want to accompany that with a yawn or a sigh. Awakening. And when you've taken a full stretch, just rolling over to your right side and then making your way back up to sitting. And then once you come up to sitting, bringing the palms together. Again, just recall your intention. Think about how you feel. Notice how you feel. And then to seal the practice, taking the hands up over the crown. Drawing the hands down to the Ajna chakra, your intuitive center. To the Vishuddha at your throat, where you speak your truth and listen well. The Anahata, the heart center, your center for love and compassion. The Manipura, and the solar plexus, giving you your will and your drive, your determination. This is your power in here. Your Svadhisthana, in your sacral area, for new beginnings, creativity and change. And the Muladhara for your strength and your stability. And bringing your hands back to the Anahata chakra. The center for love, compassion, for kindness. And always making sure that you have a place there for yourself. And then rub your hands together. Make the hands warm. Place your palms over your eyes. Open the eyes first to the darkness. And allow the light to come through. And you bring the hands away. Hands come back to the Anahata chakra. Namaste. Well, have a wonderful day. Okay, everybody. So let me know how you get on. Let me know how it feels, if it was okay for you, or if there's anything that you want to add. Okay.